how do you yourself feel if when you hear young guys anywhere everywhere you go in California, you're gonna hear
Yeah.
a young guy say the N word, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how do you feel as an African American when young guys say that stuff like that?
I'll be quite honest with you, man. Like, I don't even use the word because it's derogatory, dog. Like, I don't like the word. I've never liked the word. I'm not gonna say I never used it, but I don't like anyone using the word, period. So I would always trip out when I'd see like the essays using the N word. I'm like, wait a minute, what? What is that? It always trip me out, and I'll be like, yo, there's a brother over here. And they were like, oh man, we don't mean it like that though. I'm like, if I said like, other words that I know, because my Spanish is pretty good.
Right.
If I use certain derogatory terms in Spanish about y'all, would y'all like that? They'd be like, oh, hell no. I'm like, exactly. So, just because you hear it on a song, Ice Cube, NWA, and all these cats, I grew up with, I'm 46, using the word, everyone at their concert going to say it, it doesn't make it right. Two wrongs don't make a right. So as my community, just because, an essay will say the N word, it doesn't give Tiger a cosign to be disrespectful to the Latino, to the Latino culture, man. I ain't down with it at all, man, at
Yeah,
all.
maybe we should have done a podcast earlier. We're about the same age,
Right,
but then again, I don't agree with everything. But listen,
right.
I agree with you with that. I myself, I still struggle with not saying it. I'm not gonna lie.
Sure, no, I get it. Yeah,
For many years, I would be that homie saying, "No, dude, what the fuck's wrong with you? Why are you talking like that?" Right, straight up, I'd be that
yeah,
homie, and I
yeah.
think probably like around the uh, probably like 2005, 7. I don't know.
Hmm.
It just you started hearing it more loosely,
Yeah,
and then like with one of my homies will come over, I'm like, "Here comes this," and and you say it
right.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
So it would come out in conversations, but the thing is this: like I was having a conversation with two of my homies this weekend, right? One
Hmm.
is about 45, the other is around 54, right?
Okay.
So these are
Hmm.
guys older up in age.
Right.
And this is the argument we get from the brown side. Oh, well, these damn youngsters won't be trying to act like all those black guys, woo, 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 and talking all that shit. And I looked at them both because I know how they speak. And they know
Right.
I'm the one that says don't say those words. I told them, coming from both of you that say the N-word, how are you gonna sit here and talk down on some youngsters and say they act black when you now at 50 something say my end and they both
Right.
look. And what I would like to express to the African American community, first of all, I do agree with you. It's offensive. It's a word that it makes it easier for us to kill one another, for us to sell
Hmm.
dope to one another, because I'm not selling
Right.
it to Jeremy, I'm not selling it to Jake, I'm selling it to that N. That's the
Right.
way. And
Yeah.
but the influence is this also. When the brown community says it, they're not saying it disrespectful. They're not saying, unless you're saying the ER word. That to me is the
Of
real
course.
N,
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
right? So
Of
to me,
course.
it's like they're emulating who they've been looking up to for the last
Hmm.
20, 30 years. You
Right.
know, when I was in school, you would see kids, throw up the hoop and they'll be like, I was Magic Johnson. Then you get a little bit older, then they start talking,
Right.
I'm a Kobe Bryant. Then they'll
Yeah.
do the sky hook. I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So
Right.
nowadays you have kids growing up and they're saying they're trying to mix. I'm LeBron James, or they're seeing their favorite rapper
Right.
YG, and they're just emulating exactly what the industry has pushed on them, right? And
Right.
it's
Right.
and one thing I also want to make clear: it is not a black culture thing; it's a hip hop culture thing.
Right.
Because there's
Exactly.
many African Americans that will sit there and say that is not black culture. The hood, that no, saying the N word, rap music, that's hip hop, that's urban,
Graffiti, breakdancing, all that. Yeah.
which is a fancy word for the hood. They could call
Right.
it urban. It's just a fancy
Urban.
word.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fancy word for the hood. It's a
Yeah.
fancy word for ghetto. And
Yeah.
now it's come to a point where not you, but the
Hmm.
entertainment industry, the corporate America has made, especially Crips and Blood,
Hmm.
mainstream. And what the
Yes.
Crips and Blood say? They say the N word to one another. And what does
Yep.
that sound? That sounds cool than a mother, because you're sitting there with your boy saying, man, I just heard YG say hey, my N, or I saw Ice Cube, my N, my N. You're listening to these
Hmm.
songs. So it's just been pushed so much on our community that that's how they're acting. And
You,
and I don't
yeah.
think it's going away anytime soon, Jake.
No,